This year, our U.S. West region invited chapters to host a local EO TED Talk competition. Members volunteered to share their stories in a brief 10-minute format, reaching for their 5%. 6 chapters participated, and today and tomorrow, you will hear from the 6 speakers whose talks stood out by their peers as exceptional. Following this first EO talk, we'll break for 15 minutes and resume at 3:30. There's warm drinks in the back. Please welcome EO Los Angeles member and our first EO Talk speaker, Alice Kao.
Hello, EO. My name is Alice Kao, and I am a rock climber. So when you hear the word rock climber, what do you think a rock climber looks like? Oops. Maybe something like this? Well, when I was growing up, rock climber was totally out of my realm of possibility because I've tried all sorts of different sports when I was growing up, and I was terrible at all of them. So it doesn't help that I have flat feet, so I'm really not good at running. And I'm extremely nearsighted, and I've worn glasses about this thick since I was 8 years old. Also, I have terrible hand-eye coordination. So all of the memories of myself playing sports look something like if someone was throwing me a basketball, I would be dodging it instead of catching it. I took tennis lessons for over a year, and I couldn't hit the ball. And I always came in last in the 1-mile run. And then I discovered climbing. So I discovered climbing in 2008, and I was actually living and working in London at the time. It was a very dark time of my life. In fact, when I do my lifelines for my forum, it's always the lowest point in my life. And I had just gotten out of a terrible breakup, and I moved to London to run away from my life. And when I got there, the first thing I did when I got there for the first 6 months, I drank myself to death. And then one morning I woke up and I decided there's got to be a better way to heal from this. So a coworker of mine told me that I should try signing up for an intro to climbing class at the local climbing gym. But when I got to the climbing gym, and this is a picture of the actual climbing gym that I climbed at in London, I almost turned around and walked out because all of those memories of me being terrible at sports came right back at me. And I'll never forget what the instructor said to me. He said, you know, Alice, kids, humans are, it's a natural instinct for humans to climb. If you watch kids, they crawl and then they walk and then they climb. So he told me to just put one hand after another, one hand and one foot, and never look down. And next thing you know, I was on top of the wall. And I think what really made a difference for me when I discovered climbing is that I don't need to see very far when I'm climbing. The wall is right here. And the wall is not moving. Now, during this time, I called my grandma. So this is my grandma. She's 95 now, living in Taiwan. And I told her that I discovered this new passion, and I'm a rock climber now. And I'll never forget it, because my grandma said, Alice, rock climbing, I've seen people climbing on TV, and rock climbing is a sport for men. Maybe you should try something a little more feminine, like dancing. And I know in particular she loves me because she was really concerned about my prospects of finding a good husband. And my grandma's really tech savvy. So even in 2008, she went on the internet and she said, you know, I found on the internet that if you're a climber, your nails are going to be really ugly and your biceps are going to be huge. And when she discovered that I wasn't quitting, she told me, Alice, this is a phase you're going to grow out of when you have kids. Of course, she liked it even less when I called her in 2011, and I told her that I have now left my six-figure job, mortgaged my house, and started an indoor climbing business. But it was then that I realized that, you know, my grandma she had a legitimate concern because when she went to the internet and she searched indoor rock climbing, this is what indoor rock climbing looks like. And it was really scary because actually when I thought about it, the whole year that I climbed in London by myself, I didn't meet anybody that looked like me. And that was also the moment that I realized that, you know what? if I wanted to have a different climbing experience, maybe I can be part of that solution. And that is when I created Sunder One, to be a gym, a place where I feel like I belong. So my climbing gym is big, open, and airy. And it doesn't look like real rocks because indoor climbing, it's its own sport. It's not like outdoor climbing. My climbing gym is a place for families and kids and people of all ages and abilities. So this picture was actually taken this past weekend at my LAX location, where we hosted the Paraclimbing World Cup for 60 athletes in 14 countries. And if you think climbing is too hard and it's intimidating, maybe you will consider climbing a giraffe or an owl, or maybe the city towers. And if you are an engineer, maybe try the circuit board. My climbing gym is a place where I feel at home, because here, everyone accepts me for exactly the way I am. And maybe you come here to run away from your problems like I did, or come to celebrate your successes. But at least here, we do that together and we cheer each other on. So that's me in the back cheering somebody on when they're finishing a climb. And my climbing gym is a place for kids who maybe didn't make the basketball team or came in last on a 1-mile run. And here they can still find their sport and they can be athletes. See that little girl in the front? Her name is Lisa, and she's been climbing with us for 6 years on our competition team. And finally, this is a place, whether you are a white man or a woman of color, you can discover yourself and connect with others through climbing, and you can qualify for the Olympics. So this was taken in March 2020 when we hosted the Pan American Championships, where the woman, her name is Alana Yip, and Colin Duffy qualified for a spot in Tokyo. So I called my grandma recently, and I told her that this woman, Miho Nanaka from Japan, who won a silver medal at the most recent Tokyo Olympics this past summer, she has climbed at my gym while she was filming the Beats commercial. My grandma doesn't know Beats, but she knows Apple. I'm like, Grandma, it's an Apple commercial. And I stayed up all night watching the Olympics when it was on TV. And one thing that I noticed, and this is a picture of her when she found out she won the Olympics, but what I noticed is how beautiful her fingernails were. I also told my grandma that this is a phase I am never growing out of. In fact, it's a family affair for us, and we start our kids really young. We take them on all sorts of adventures, outdoors and indoors. But what's most important for us when we climb is that we are climbing together. Thank you.
Hey, I want to just recognize Alice and her confidence and her courage to be up here and to talk to all of you. Thank you so much for being here in our first EO Talker. What a wonderful job. Let's give her a standing. Let's stand. Great job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
That was really fun.
And with that, we now are going into a 15-minute break. So you guys have 15 minutes to grab some food. There's snacks, there's drinks available, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. Thank you.